Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Hugo, and today we're going to see what's going to be the best stocks for this week. We're going to do a market analysis on the Bitcoin and also on the SP500, and we're going to have a look into my portfolio to see the actions that we had this week. So stay around. Before we start the video, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Only 3.9% of my viewers are subscribers, and I need your help to reach that 1,000 subscribers. So smash that button. Let's get back to the video. So we're going to start the week with MO, Altria Group. Basically, this is a tobacco company that has some brands like Marlboro, etc., and have a dividend yield of 6.86%. They pay quarterly March, June, September, and December, and they are undervalued in 46.2%. Actually, this is one of the stocks that I had some reservations regarding the tobacco company, because I don't believe in this industry, and I do think this industry may decline in the future. That's why I want to already sold everything that was Philip Morris in the past. They actually had a higher dividend yield than the MO, and I still have bets on my portfolio, the British American Tobacco, which is on the London Stock Exchange, and has a dividend yield around 7 or 8% as well, a really high dividend. But it's one of the stocks that I want to get rid of because I don't see this industry taking future for the long term, like 5 years or so. That's what I'm talking about, not for a medium term, like 1 year or 6 months. I think that's fine to invest, and they pay quarterly. It's a nice investment, and they are undervalued in around 46%. The ex-dividend date is in the 14th of June, and financial health, it's a B, but although this has like some difference between assets and liabilities, around 100k of difference in millions from liabilities and assets, I won't see this as a big issue in terms of financial health, and the market sentiment is old. Although comparing with the competitor, with the direct competitor, which is Philip Morris is paying back the stocks, which MO it's not doing at the moment, and I don't know if this is going to be the tendency of the market, but it's something that we need to have some eyes open and to look to the stock what's going to happen. The market sentiment, it's old, and the stock went down in the past few days, so I do think it's a good opportunity to buy. But this depends if you believe on this industry and tobacco industry, and for how long you want to invest on it. So for a short term, I think it's a good opportunity. For a long term, I don't think so. But this is only my opinion. You need to do your own research, as everybody says. And the earnings are forecast to grow around 3.92% per year. The ticker IRM, Iron Mountain, it's one of the global leaders in storage and information management services. They are around the globe, and they have a dividend yield of 5.33%. They pay quarterly March, June, September, and December, and they are undervalued in 44.1%, which is quite good for this type of REITs. Bear in mind, this is a REIT, it's a specialized REIT for storage and information systems. The ex-dividend date is on the 14th of June, and the financial health is a B. Although they are, in terms of millions, also a difference, is not billions. It's quite similar, the difference they have between assets and liabilities as MO that we saw before. The market sentiment is old, and the stock has been rising in the past few days. This may be due to the fact that the stock was quite cheap, and the ex-dividend date is come closing, so this is why they had increased this past few weeks. But I think it's still a good opportunity to buy because they are undervalued quite a lot. And the estimation growth forecast is around 22% for this year, which is quite a lot, where the usual is around 4%. The only risk analysis that I can do here, it's some of the shareholders has been diluting along the year, which sometimes may cause the stock goes down. The ticker Unity Group Inc., it's another REIT, but this one is specialized in acquiring and building communication infrastructure like antennas for Wi-Fi, etc., and they have good dividend yield of 5.46%. They pay quarterly March, June, September, and December, and they are overvalued in around 60%, which is a lot, which is quite good to buy. It's the most cheapest stock that we have at the moment, with a capacity of growth around 6%, which is quite good. The ex-dividend date is on the 17th of June, and the financial health is 2Gs, so they have more liabilities than assets, although the market cap it's not too big, and it's around millions. But the market sentiment is a buy, of course, because of the type of undervalued percentage that they have at the moment, which is quite good. And the earnings forecast is around 21% per year, which is a lot. Bear in mind they build also infrastructure for 5G, so that's why if you don't want to invest in like Huawei or Nokia in 5G sector, you can invest on this one, because they are also building infrastructure for 5G, and they're going to sell and rent these antennas into the major communication industry. So this is a nice way to get into the industry. A really nice stock that can grow a lot, and also has a high dividend yield, which is quite good. In terms of the risk analysis for Unity, they have a negative shareholder equity, which has been occurred in the past few months and year, and that's why the stock went so low. So that's why it's a good opportunity to buy. And the last one, the ticker MPW, which is Medical Properties Trust. They are a REIT as well on the medical sector and the health sector, and it's one of my preferable stocks that I have on my portfolio, which have a high dividend yield of 5.31%. They pay March, June, September, and December, and they are undervalued in 61.4%, which for me it's a really good stock. It's a really nice time to buy. They went down a lot, and the ex-dividend date is only on the 16th of June, so we still have plenty of time to buy. They have a financial health with the best of the financial health that I have on this week, and the market sentiment is old. Although I think it's a nice time to buy because of two factors. The stock went down, and they are still undervalued in around 61%, so it's a nice time to buy. I mentioned this in the past week, so you guys can have the chance to buy it and have on your portfolio, because for me this is one of my favorite stocks that I have on my portfolio. So now let's have a look into the market analysis. Let's see what's going to happen on the SP500 and on the BTC. So I left the graph as it was on the past week. As you can see, the estimation that I've done here was around 0.6% of growth on the SP500, and actually that was almost what happened. We had a growth around 0.5%, almost 1%, and the curve, it's still the same, so we didn't manage nothing here, we didn't change anything here. And in terms of the MACD, we still have the same tendency, so I don't think this will change suddenly. I do think we're going to continue on this trend for another week or so, or probably until the end of the month. Let's see what's happened this week. There's still nothing happening in the market per se. There is a big bill to be approved around the taxation on the big companies, and this may affect the SP500, and we may see a tendency, another horizontal tendency instead of a growth tendency on the next upcoming weeks. So as you can see, there's no much variation. We're still in the same position. It's still growing around 0.5%, 0.25%, but it's still growing. If you're going to get out of this tendency, we need to have another week. I thought this happened this week. Nothing happened. We're still on the same growth rates. And if I change the interval graph for 1 hour, we still have the same thing. We have some growth, but still in the same boxy zone. And I don't see this going out. We have here probably another test, but let's see. I think we're going to have another week in the same way. So not much growth, around 0.25, 0.5. If there's still 0.5 is not bad. At least we won't lose any money. Of course, you only lose money if you sell, but you won't lose any money. And the main goal is at least not to lose money. So we hope that this tendency, we still have a growth tendency, but a small growth tendency. In terms of the Bitcoin, we have exactly the same thing, the same tendency. It is not too much of a growth, although we have some breaks here, down breaks, but then we have another tests, and now I think this is going to be the major thing. This was the graph that I've traced the past week, and let's see what's going to happen if we're going to start to have some oscillation here, and if we get out of this growth rate, the same thing that we are having on the SP500, which as you can see, the MACD is exactly the same thing. If I change the interval for 1 hour, as you can see, we have a test of the support on the 35,000 again. We had this in the past over here. We have another one over here. If it goes below the 32, I don't think this will happen, because if we move this margin over here, probably we go to the 28k, which I hope this won't happen. So as you can see, we're still going to have in the same values over here. We are almost crossing the end of this, the peak of this triangle. So we may see some variance over here, some fluctuation over here, hoping that this is going to break out and get out of the 35k support, and we're going to reach for another support around the 40k, which is around these values over here and around here. But again, this is another week that we have to have some highs on it. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But although this is a variance of a 5% variance, which is quite normal, we had here a variance around the 5%, but this wasn't much of a concern. I managed to buy some at the 32k, more at 32k. That was some averaging that I've done, and let's hope this go up again. I still have another averaging point around the 30k, just in case this collapse, but I don't think so. We are here on the MACD, still in the same position, although we are almost at the end of the week, but I don't see this going down more, and I think we reached the lowest point around here. This is now going up for this week, I think. But we can have again the same thing as SP500, horizontal move instead of a growth move. So if you want to copy all my trades, you can do it by go to eToro and search my nickname on the search bar by Knight, and you can copy all the trades, all my open trades that I have. At the moment, I have a growth of around 32% on the past 12 weeks, and at the moment we have around 20% of growth for this year, which already surpass the percentage that I've done on the past year, which was around 11. You can also simulate your trades by the spreadsheet that I'm going to show at the end of this video, so stay till the end so you can see it, and I'm going to explain what actions that I've done. So the portfolio performance for this week, the US market had a growth of around 1.1%. My portfolio had a growth of around 1.15%, although they didn't grow much because of the Bitcoin went down quite a lot, around 6%, and all other as well, around 5%, and that had the impact on my portfolio. Since inception, my portfolio had a growth of around 17.85%. We have a decrease from last week, around 18%, which was the last week, although due to the crypto. And on the top 5 stocks for this week, we have AMZA, which is one of the ETFs that I have on my portfolio, which works with leverage, and that's why they have a high dividend yield and had a growth of 6.33%. ARK Invest with a ticker ARKK, which is another ETF with a growth of 4.99%. Amazon with a growth of 4.47%. I did invest on Amazon a few weeks back with some averaging that I've done, because they went almost negative in the past 2 weeks. And Pfizer, he had a growth of 3.91%, and Media Trust MPW with a growth of 3.6%. Some of this growth is due to the ex-dividend date is coming close. In terms of payments, we did have a lot of payments this month. Bear in mind that most of the payments from May are transferred for this month because they are paid on the next month. So this month we have AGNC, which is one of the highest dividend yields that I have on my portfolio. We have also another 3 ETFs that are being paid monthly, and this week, which was JNQ, PFF, HIG, that were paid during this week. And for me, it's one of the best ETFs as well that I have on my portfolio. It's around 5% each, and they pay monthly. For me, I love them. And we have also a payment of ADA. Although ADA you may not receive if you are copying me, because of the fact that if it doesn't reach the $1, they won't pay you. So that may be the cause of why you don't receive any dividends on ADA. So an ADA, it's translated in a transaction, so it's like an open order that you have, not like an dividend that you receive on your balance. We had also Microsoft, CSV, which is Chevron, and Unilever had a pay as well. And bear in mind, Unilever, it's a UK stock, and we don't pay any tax. And we have, and it's a high dividend yield stock as well, and we receive a chunk of money from Unilever. Still regarding the payments here, what you can see on this graph in the blue line is the estimation. Of course, this has been in growth because most of the stocks that I bought, and you can see this on my spreadsheet, most of the stocks I bought, they are already being calculated, but they're not being received because they receive on the next month or so. And that's why in June, we still have a lower bar in orange than May, because we may receive most of the dividends from May. So as you can see, in April, for example, we surpassed the payments because of payments that are referring to March. So that's why these are being moved, and the same thing is going to happen in May. So I hope in June this orange bar will be higher than the blue bar because of the payments that we're going to receive in May. This is just to give you an overview of how the payments are going and how the estimation that I do on the spreadsheet that you can have also access, and the link is on the description. In terms of new acquisitions, we have SDIV, which I already mentioned the past week on the past video, so you can have a look. Open orders, I have BTC. I still have Alibaba as well as open with the ticker 9988.hk, which I think I will cancel this order and move for the next week or so, depending if the price goes really low. I think this is regarding the specific level. If they go below that, I'll buy again. They are less than minus 4%. It's not dramatic. I can go lower. Usually what I do is when they reach a certain point, like minus 5 or minus 10%, I'll do some average and reinforce that. But this is not the case. This is if the stock really collapse and there's a chance for us to buy and do some average on that. SDIV as well, I want to increase my exposure into the SDIV realm, which I want to increase my exposure to the realm ETF, and because of the dividend yield, which is quite a lot, around 11%, almost 12%, and PFF and AIG are also stocks that had a high dividend yield of around 5%, and they pay monthly. The reason of this open orders is because I want to invest more in stocks and ETFs that have monthly payments, and they are more stable than any other stock, because at the moment it's quite risky to invest in any growth stocks because of the volatility of the market. The close order that I have this week was All Greens with the ticker WBA. We had around 61%, almost 62% of profits since the acquisition of this stock. And in terms of averaging, I've done this week, it's BTC and Alibaba as well. So that's why I think I'll cancel the open order that I still have with Alibaba. The top payers, it still remains the same, ANZ, actually AMZA, and the top dividend yield is the realm with almost 12%, and my portfolio is undervalued in around 41%, which last week was 41.1 or 41.5, and the future growth is around 6.6%. This is due because of I don't have any growth stocks per se like Palantir, etc., on my portfolio at the moment, and that's why the portfolio future growth is quite low, comparing from the past around 20% almost. Now it's around 6%, but it's stable for this type of market and volatility, and we don't have any actions on the market. It's not moving. I think it's the best choice at the moment to stay low instead of going for stocks that growing stocks, which may cause big instability in our portfolio. In terms of stocks with a high volatility, Silmain, and with a low volatility, it's Unilever, which we received the payments this week. So now let's have a look into the spreadsheet and explain you this in the spreadsheet so you can understand what movements and what we bought and sold this week. So if you are seeing this spreadsheet for the first time, you can access it via the link on the description. And as you can see, the graph that you saw before is exactly this one, which you have an estimation of how much you're going to receive per month. This is a simulation of $1,000 investment, and you can see here how much you're going to receive per month and how much is going to be the investments in terms of dividends per year. Bear in mind, this values over here is already after tax, because I'm already calculating the tax on this column around here. So in terms of average, we've done Alibaba, we've done average on the Bitcoin, and we had a new acquisition, which is SDIV, the ETF SDIV. We still don't have any payments on SDIV because we just got it now, and maybe next month or so we start to have some payments. This week we had payments on Unilever, we had payments on PFF, we had payments on Microsoft, we had payments on J&Q, we had payments on HIG, and we had payments on Chevron and AGNC. So this was the payments in this week. As you can see here in yellow, this one was already paid last week, as you can see. And usually what I do is I mark every single Friday. I update not only the values with the last price. So this is our price from the markets on the Friday at the end of the close of the market. Of course, we have some variance here on the Bitcoin and crypto. And also I mark here what was the payments for this week. And here you can see in this graph what's going to be your exposure in terms of the market, in terms of the US market, UK market, HQ, China in this case, and also ETFs and crypto. The only thing here that you need to do is update the percentage with the values that you have on your portfolio, because this is based on my entire portfolio. Usually what happens is when you copy with a certain amount, he's going to copy all these trades, but this may vary, and you need to copy paste the values that you have, so he'll match the values that you have over here in terms of the payments. Okay guys, once again, I hope you enjoyed these tips. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like. This will help me. I almost reached the 5,000 subscribers, but my goal is to reach the 1,000, and please help me with that. This is a kind of investigation that takes a lot of work, and the only thing I can receive as a payment is that subscription. So please don't forget to hit that button. And once again guys, thank you, cheers, and see you next week.